Thank you. And I'm going to recognize Representative Joyce from Ohio for 5 minutes. Mr. Joyce.
Thank you very much, Chairman Kelly. Lieutenant Harold, a lot of discussion, I think, will take place today about the advanced planning that took place. And my understanding is that from your testimony here is that you were involved in most of those day-to-day meetings leading up to this event and at the event with the Secret Service. Is that correct?
Sir, yes, sir.
And so could you go through that? Like, on what was the first day you met with them, and then what did you discuss? And did the Secret Service, to your understanding, when they come in and take over a site, they're in charge of the site, and then they're helping, you are assisting them, and they're telling you, you tell them where people are going to be, the local folks where they're going to be, and they're basically in charge and know all those things ahead of time, where everyone's supposed to be, correct?
That's correct.
Did you have the opportunity then to understand that when the Secret Service came in, that they were telling the local folks, this counter sniper group, and I believe Mr. Blasco, that it was at the end of the day, it was the Beaver County sniper team that was in the HR building?
It was both Beaver and Butler, sir.
Okay. Did Secret Service ever talk to the Beaver County sniper unit?
Not to my knowledge.
And they were there that day in charge of this operation. Secret Service never talked to them?
Correct.
Thank you. So going back to you, Lieutenant Harold, the day of or day before the event, do you have a walkthrough with the Secret Service?
I had 2 walkthroughs at the site. There was a walkthrough on Tuesday. It was just a brief to get familiar with the property. We went back to the barracks. We pulled up an image of the farm show on a smart screen TV. We drew the fence line, spoke a little bit. The main meeting at the site was Thursday, and it was with the same 3 Secret Service agents. I was with 2 other PSP commanders. We walked the site starting at the main gate. We went clockwise around and looking at my ops plan, wherever there's a dot or a number, that was a stationary patrol. And then basically when we got near the end and I had everything that they had requested, I was informed by my Area 1 commander that if we needed additional troopers that we could pull from surrounding troops. But after the request and the assignments that was given to us from Secret Service, I had plenty. I covered all the posts, and I had additional roving troopers inside the venue. So that was primarily the main meeting that we had with Secret Service was on Thursday, and then I completed the ops plan and had it forwarded out by 1,500 hours on Friday.
So that was 2 days before the event. No walkthrough the day of, no walkthrough the day before.
There was no walkthrough. I spent a little bit of time there Friday evening. There was an incident between Secret Service and the campaign. I was on my way home. I live across the street from the farm show, so I stopped there to see what the issue was. I ended up staying there until about 8:30 p.m. that night. So I did have some other interactions with Secret Service there on Friday, and then even some early communication with the campaign and Secret Service the morning of and during the event on July 13th.
What was the issue?
The issue was there was a campaign. We didn't know who it was at first. There was a vehicle that was parked, and one of the Secret Service agents had approached this person, and I think the individual was rude to the Secret Service agent and then got out of the car and walked away. So I had a trooper there go up to the PA system, page the registered owner of the vehicle, and I gave them so many minutes to return to their vehicle where I was going to tow it.
Okay. So. Mr. Sullivan, were you ever personally on a presidential protection detail?
Yes, for 4 years.
Okay, when was that?
It was 2 years with President Reagan and 2 years with first President Bush.
Oh, God bless. What kind of training did somebody on a PPD have?
We had extensive training. We came through the normal Secret Service training, Federal Enforcement Training Center, the Secret Service Training Center in Beltsville, Maryland. Then, before you got to the presidential detail, you had to do a series of field office assignments, investigations, and protection assignments, assisting on advances. And then when you got to the Presidential Protection Division, you had to have a minimum of 6 or 7 years experience, which is what I had when I got there. And then once you're there, we had training at least once a month we had to secure our firearms once a month, and we went to Beltsville, the Riley Training Center, at least once a month for, we call them attack on principles, AOPs, where you'd go through routine and events that might happen, then all of a sudden you'd have an attack on the person who was acting as the president to test your response skills. So it was very, very intense training.
I appreciate that, sir. Our acting director Rowe has said that we need a paradigm shift, and we need to be changed from one of being reactive to one of readiness. Now, what does that even mean?
Well, I think it means that the Secret Service needs to shift how we do business, but I'll harken back to my testimony. To me,
Like shift, from back to all the work that was done to prepare you for President Reagan and President Bush to the lack of that work being done now?
no, sir, that's not what I mean. I think there's a certain, I don't know what words actually come to mind, but agents are exhausted now. The campaign really, really takes a lot out of them. And I think they don't have enough resources, Secret Service does not have enough personnel and resources to give people the break that they need. But also, let me say though, Congressman, when we say about the paradigm shift and going from a reactive mode to a readiness mode, it's really being proactive. And I'll harken back to my testimony. We
So
need.
when would you not be proactive when when you go out into a situation like that? You're always looking for points of attack, correct?
Yes, from the physical protection aspect, but I'm talking the overall agency.
I'm talking about the physical protection. When you were in PPD, when you were out there on the field, if you saw somebody in the line of sight or the day before in a walkthrough and you saw problems with line of sight, what would you do?
I would have had those mitigated, or else I would have talked to the supervisor and said, it's not safe for the president to come.
Correct. How would you mitigate it?
You
Didn't you
could
have
have
banners at that
banners, you could have buses, you could have trucks. There are a lot of ways to mitigate it. But however, to me, the simplest way to mitigate the building there outside the fence line in Butler was to post it. If you had police officers on the outside of the building, or agents, no one could have got up to the roof.
My understanding is that there was some type of vehicle that was supposed to be posted there to block that line of sight. When you came out and you were in charge and you didn't see the vehicle there, you still let the president come out?
Well, I didn't do the advance, and I don't want to
I
second
know,
guess the
I know,
people
but
there.
I'm asking you, since you're here on their behalf, I'm asking, you
Mr. Joyce.
would have let the person come out?
Mr. Joyce, I would have taken the steps necessary. If I thought there was still a gap in the security posture, I would have taken the steps necessary, or I would have told the supervisors it's not safe to bring the president here. That's what I would have done.
Mr. Joyce.
Thank you very much. I know I
Thank you.
exceeded my time.
I wish we had a lot more time to do this. I mean it because I think you're onto something that we really need to know.
I'm
Mr.
not a
Priya, you
chairman,
are
so I
now
don't get
recognized
extra
for
time.
5 minutes.